All new at 5, Arizona paid out $4.4 billion in fraudulent unemployment claims throughout the pandemic. That's according to a recent audit about how the Department of Economic Security handled unemployment programs when Arizonans needed them the most. Here's ABC 15 investigator Courtney Holmes with that story.
The billions of lost dollars attributed to the failure of DES to verify claimant IDs before paying out money to the newly created federal jobless programs in May of 2020. According to this Arizona Auditor General report, DES did not implement mandated and recommended identity theft and anti-fraud measures. The beginning of the pandemic was chaos for DES and workers. At its peak, the state received more than 570,000 pandemic unemployment assistance claims. That's the program created for part-time and self-employed workers. Many of those claims were fraud.
It's way too much. It didn't have to be that way.
State Representative Mitzi Epstein had been pushing to update the state's unemployment system and said at least some of the loss could have been avoided with some planning.
Other states have plans for mass unemployment events. Economists call it this thing, a mass unemployment event.
The fraudulent claims caused a bottleneck and prevented legitimate claims from being paid out.
When the pandemic hit, we're wandering around trying to make up a plan as we go, like we're walking around in the dark with our eyes closed.
Security measures were eventually put in place, and the report says they prevented $75 billion in fraudulent claims from being paid out. They've since recovered another $1.6 billion. Arizona was not the only state with an influx of fraud, but Epstein says it was one of the worst.
Other states, it was around 10% of their payout, but Arizona was 27% of our payout.
She said DES did what it could with what it had, and now changes are up to the legislature.
But it's the legislature's job to give them the tools they need, to give them the budget they need to really make a good plan for the future.
Courtney Holmes, ABC 15, Arizona.
The agency sent this statement saying in part, while no one could have expected just how significant an impact the pandemic was going to have, we acknowledge there were issues with the unemployment insurance program throughout the pandemic. The department is committed to transparency and continuous improvement.